come from a cross-cultural background, which is really just a nice way of saying I'm half black and half white. That would make me a African American. And the story is real simple. It happened like this. My mother was white. Actually, she still is white. She's still holding on. My father was black. My mother got pregnant when she was 17 years old. She was still in high school. And there was a whole lot of pressure on her to just have an abortion and move on with her life. And I'd just like to testify tonight, I'm glad she chose not to go that direction. To make a very long story short, she ended up out here in Southern California. And when she was 8 months pregnant, she had been doing drugs throughout her whole pregnancy. So the state of California said, listen, we're going to take your child away from you because you're an unfit mother. So you need to just give him up now. And while she was weighing all that and dealing with all that, she's walking down the street. And a lady across the street stops her car and crosses the street and comes over to where she is. And she says, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you, but I just needed to come tell you that Jesus loves you and you're not forgotten. And literally, those words of life and hope and love overwhelmed every other thing she was dealing with. She just began to cry. They sat down on the curb, and she led her to the Lord right there on the street corner. Check this out. After 39 years, I got to meet that lady who led my mother to the Lord last year. When I asked her, you know, why did you stop your car and cross the street? And she said, I had recently gotten saved, and I felt like my life was so messed up that I was literally rescued. So my first response was to rescue somebody else. And I love that the emphasis this week is on the nations of the world. And I know sometimes you could think, well, the only way I'm going to be able to change the world is I'm going to have a passport and I'm going to have to cross the ocean into China or Haiti or India or Africa. But this lady proved you could change the world by crossing the street. I just want to take one moment, if I can, to honor your visionary, Sonny Arganzoni, man. Wow. I was 6 years old. 6. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Standing in a room 1/100th the size of this room in a little mining town in Arizona. And your pastor came, your bishop came, and just spoke and shared his testimony and shared life. And I remember sitting in the first row sobbing, and I couldn't understand why I was crying. And my mother had enough sense to say, that's the presence of Jesus. And for the last 34 years, my pursuit has been the presence of God. And I've never forgotten that moment. I just want to thank you, sir, for being a light in a dark place in my life. So if you'll indulge me for a minute, this is for Brother Sonny. What if it all depended on me to change the world, to change the world? What if my only responsibility was to change the world, change the world? Let me be the one to start a revolution. Let me sing my song to the people of the world. It all begins with words. So what kind of love can conquer disease and change the world, change the world? What can I do to make poverty history and change the world, change the world? Let me be the one to start a love revolution, yeah. Let me sing my song to the people of the world, oh, to the children of the world. It all begins with the power of one, joining the hundreds of millions of people believing one. Power of one, don't hang around, stand up or sit down and believe we can change the world together. We can change the world together.